tendency to think that a new date and a new year and a new decade ensures a new you. But the reality is, it is not the ticking of a clock that brings about the transformative power. It is not as though God waited on a particular day and said, if you make it past this date to a new calendar date, I swear I'm going to bless you. No, it's not that simple. The truth of the matter is, change does not come easy. Change does not come easy. Now, this is going to be tough to hear because it is antithetical to what you are used to hearing. You're used to hearing spin around 3 times and God's going to break it. 5 ways to have a great marriage and 3 ways to start your life over, and eat this and you'll drop 100 pounds, and take this pill and you'll be back able to get into the dress you wore to the prom. But the truth of the matter is, a day of not eating at Wendy's doesn't constitute a diet, and you're not going to be transformed easily or quickly.
It's very hard, and you have to challenge yourself to discipline your mind to just focus on what are the most important things that you need to do right now in the midst of it. Number 1, to fortify yourself mentally and emotionally, to develop a level of mental resilience, because there's so many unexpected things every day. And when you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, many people are having mental breakdowns. Domestic violence has increased 40%. Suicide rate is up. And so it shows a state of mind that many people are facing as a result of the coronavirus. So focusing one's mind, we can't control the thoughts that come in our minds, but we can control the thoughts that we dwell on.
Those who study trends in corporate America suggest that in order to change, not the building, you can change the building quickly, not the name, you can change the name legally and quite proficiently, but to change the culture of an organization is quite difficult. The invisible aesthetics and accoutrements that go along with an entity is difficult to change. Most experts suggest that 1 to 3 years at a minimum to change the culture of an organization. You can change the wallpaper. Changing the culture of a marriage is not easy. I have been doing marital counseling for 43 years, and let me tell you something. By the time you see most couples, the culture of the marriage is so baked in that nobody will listen at anybody, because everybody on both sides think they are right. And yet they come for change and they walk away without change, because change doesn't come because you come to my office. Change doesn't come because you took a diet pill. Change doesn't come because you lifted up a barbell for a week. Change doesn't come because you hired a new CEO. Change doesn't come because you changed the name of the entity. Change doesn't come because you dyed your gray hair blonde. Change doesn't come because you shaved your head off and put on an earring. Real substantive change that changes you at the core is difficult to attain.
If nothing ever prevented you from being the best version of yourself, nobody told you you were limited, you had never failed at anything, and you know you wouldn't fail going forward, what would you dream? How big would your dreams be?
I know a couple things about New Year's Day, and I know a couple things about the new year. One is, it's going to go real fast. Number 2 is, it's a new chance, a new beginning. So I would encourage you today to set aside a few minutes, look at your life, make a couple of New Year's promises and resolutions to yourself, ones that have high ideals, ones that will make you better, and start this new beginning, this fresh start today on the right foot.
Gratitude in advance is the most powerful and creative force in the universe. As you move into the new year, you pick one word to focus on, it's your family, your business, as you navigate throughout life. And my one word moving into 2021 is gratitude, right? Like the quote reads, be grateful for all things because all things have contributed to your advancement. Therefore, all things should be included in your gratitude, right? Wins and losses, opposition, adversity, challenges, right? Stages and phases, right? Lessons and blessings. And for most of us, 2020, it was a year of pain. It was a year of people look back on it like, man, I can't find nothing to be grateful for. But the ability to learn is a gift, even when pain is our teacher, right? And as we move into 2021, I think the thing that we must always be cognizant of is painful endings always lead to new beginnings.
Don't allow the pull to pull you down. And where you just give up and let go and give up on your dream and your hope and your position and your posture and all of the things that God has done into your life, and you fall into the abyss of your base nature and let it just drive you further and further down. Who knows how far down gravity will pull you if Earth were not in the way? How far down is down? We don't know. All we know is that there is a law that by nature pulls us down. And we have to fight to think up, to live up, to pray up, to walk up, to do the right thing, to forgive people, to be balanced, to discipline ourselves. It's an ongoing battle. But the battle is a blessing. But I want you to understand, I want to encourage somebody that's in the fight right now, that the fight that you're in the fight is a sign that you've been changed because you didn't used to fight it.
I've been thinking about gratitude lately and why it's such an important and powerful state of awareness. When you have gratitude, you are holding on to a particular sort of awareness. It's a powerful and transformative awareness. And what's more is that you don't have to do anything to get it. You don't have to buy it or work for it. You just have to live it. I like something John F. Kennedy said once about gratitude. He said, as we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter the words, but to live by them. But how do you do that? How do you live a life of gratitude when you are too busy trying to live? I have enough sense to be grateful when the big things happen. When the growth they found and took 6 days to test wasn't cancer after all. I have enough sense to be grateful when my bonus was a lot more than I thought it would be. The big things make us pause and reflect. Then we say, whew, thank goodness. But you forget about the small things. You forget how to live in gratitude for the small things. You forget about your warm house. Or if your house isn't warm, you forget about the fact that you have a roof over your head. And if you don't have a roof over your head, you forget about the fact that your heart is still beating. You forget about the people who make you laugh and who make you feel validated or loved. You know, hearing myself say that these aren't really small things. They are things you take for granted so they become small and you stop noticing them.
Some of us have lulled our desire to change to sleep, and we are satisfied just to be stabilized. And when you are around people who see success merely as stability, it is quite frustrating because they resist the propensity to change, and they will fight you off if you try to change because they think survival is success. But the reality is, I'm the kind of person is I want to soak up sunshine, drink water, and breathe air, and stay the same way I was at 40 that I was at 20. I want to learn something. I want to grow somewhere. I want to increase in some area of my life. I want to be able to have quantifiable results that are proof to the fact that all the hell that I went through gave me a dividend of some sort, that it accrued some interest, that it meant something. The things that I suffered, that they propelled me somewhere, that they catapulted me to the next level. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's the fact that I'm 62 and time becomes more important when you have less of it. I resist people who waste my time. Yes, I resist you. I resist you. I resist you. I make war with you. I come against you. I would rather you waste my money than waste my time. I can get some more money, but I can't get some more time. Do not waste my time.
But again, how do you live a life of gratitude? Maybe the question isn't how, but why. Why live a life of gratitude? I think the answer has to do with selfishness. See, I don't mean selfish with a small s. That's when you care about yourself at the expense of everyone else. No, I mean selfish with a big S. That's when you care about yourself so deeply that your care extends to everyone else. Put yourself first. Give yourself an advantage. How do you feel? If I said you could feel revivified and empowered, you would want more of it. Remember, you're being selfish. So if I said you could feel more connected and more compassionate, you would want more of it. You want more of it because gratitude is another expression of love. How do you feel when you are grateful? You feel like you are not going through life alone. You feel as though someone or somebody is with you. You feel connected to something other than you. You feel cared about. And when you feel cared about, you care about. Don't just think about it, be about it. Gratitude isn't just about thank you. It's not the word. It's not just about the feeling. Gratitude is about living the feeling. Live the life of gratitude.
So you want to be normal. So you just want to be like everybody else that roams the world, not knowing the power that's in them, being fine with being mediocre.
Your dreams are the most powerful thing. Without a dream, there's again no point being here. And we are lost without dreams. So find the time on a daily basis to dream and pursue your dream, whatever that looks like. Be on the pursuit of your dream.
I really believe that you have to seek the love and the beauty that you want in what you have now. Because that way you're training yourself to extract meaning right now, which means in the short term, if you can fill that role with meaning and your true passion and what's coming from you, then that's going to lead you to discovering the power of it.
Because life is essentially tragic in its fundamental essence, you need a sustaining meaning that's deep and profound, and deep and profound enough to get you through bad times, because there will be very bad times in your life. There'll be death, and there'll be illness, and there'll be disappointment of all sorts. And there'll be just the standard difficulties of life in the world to contend with, and you really must have something that's profound and powerful to set up against that. And I think that your voluntary adoption of the struggle to improve being is the proper antidote to that.
Have to understand the fundamental truth of this life. You can always make a different decision, which will lead to a different outcome.
Success is not how much money or how much power you have. Success is how well do you do what you do when no one else is looking and keep on doing it. Successful people do all the things that successful people don't want to do.
So you've got to be realistically humble. You've got to be ambitious enough in your goals so that you're pursuing something that you regard as truly meaningful and worthwhile. So you want your goals to be of sufficient nobility so that you can live with yourself properly if you're pursuing them, but you want them to be small enough so that you have a reasonable probability of implementing them.
Light outside of that one area, most of us we're worried about suffering. We're afraid of it. When we're suffering and sacrificing, we wonder whether it's worth it. We wonder whether we're supposed to. We wonder whether sacrifice or setbacks or suffering is a sign it's not our real dream, don't we? And your body is a metaphor for the rest of your life. But the rest of our life, every time we sweat, every time we sacrifice, every time we suffer, we don't do what we do at the gym. We start saying, well, wait a minute. Maybe I'm not supposed to be doing this. Maybe I'm not cut out. Maybe it's not my destiny. Maybe I just can't do it.
got to remember that any challenge we're facing today, we've faced it before as humanity. Changing the stories we tell ourselves, we can even look at challenging situations as opportunities for growth, as an opportunity to learn, as an opportunity to change, be the change. We can look at them and really feel down. Now, that second part is okay. We can even feel like that, right? But we have to recognize it's not permanent. We've got to accept that none of our feelings are permanent. They don't need to be permanent. Choice. We recognize that those feelings are not permanent, and it'll be amazing when we realize we are seeds, right? That is the most powerful way of finding strength.
You get hungry by finding something that's you. I believe that all of us are born unique, but most of us die copies. And so the key to that hunger-driven life is a heart-centered life. I didn't do what I'm doing for years because of my programming, because of the culture in which I was raised in, that you have to work on yourself. You have to have an unstoppable attitude, and no excuse is acceptable, and you got to make it a priority, a non-negotiable in your life, and hold a constant vision of what it is you want to achieve, see it accomplished, and go all out, find a way to win.
You're always up and down. It's like your energy levels will go up and down and you'll be exhausted. Everything is tied around a story of this is bad, this is wrong, I'm in a bad place, I'm messing up, I'm going broke. That energy is going to pull you away from service or creation or creativity. How do I get out of this place?
Assuming that you have a certain intrinsic value, it's necessary for that value to manifest itself, for you to push yourself against the world, to challenge yourself. Otherwise, what you're capable of won't manifest itself. It has to be developed. It has to be called forth by necessity, right? You have to pick a hard problem and try to solve it and push yourself against it and you have to try to do that truthfully and responsibly in order for what it is that you're intrinsically capable of and composed of to come to the forefront. Encourage people to be responsible for themselves and for other people, and also to point out that you have a moral responsibility to do so for yourself just as you do for others.
There's a gap between the world and the things that trigger you and your response. And your entire life is that gap. And when you start to understand that your whole life plays out in this 5-second gap, and that there's a gap that's 5 seconds long between fear and courage, and there's a gap that's 5 seconds long between self-doubt and confidence, that is your life. And what's super cool about understanding that your whole life is inside this gap is it's so small, everybody, that you have the ability to control it. Life's always gonna throw triggers at you, and there will always be all kinds of cool things that inspire you, your wisdom, and you get to choose what happens in that gap. Do you succumb to an excuse, or do you push yourself forward? And so that gap is everywhere, and it's the same everywhere. And when you start to go to work in controlling how you live in that gap between stimulus or idea and your response, that's where the magic is.